2021 is going to be an amazing year for first-time homebuyers like yourself. If you've considered buying a home in the past few months or considered buying one this year, there are three main reasons why we're expecting a huge surge in first-time homebuyers this year and why it's going to be an amazing time for you to buy. Number one, the Federal Housing Finance Agency just released that they are going to increase the maximum conforming loan limits for 2021. In 2020, they were $765,600. And for 2021, it's been increased to $822,375. Essentially what this means is that you can qualify for more money if your income qualifies, meaning that there's more chances for people to get into the real estate market and become a home owner. Number two, interest rates are projected to remain historically low throughout this entire year at or under 3%, which is essentially pocket change for you guys when you do the math over a 30-year fixed rate, which is really incredible. And naturally, it cannot stay so low for so long. So this is going to be one of your last years to really take advantage of these low interest rates. Lastly, because 2020 was such an incredibly strong seller's market, I mean, homes were selling off the charts less than 30 days, over asking. That was a very consistent trend here in Los Angeles, both in West LA and in the Valley. And because of that, there's more incentive for sellers to get onto the housing market. And so we're expecting some sellers who have been holding off for the end of 2020 to now put their homes on the market in early 2021, essentially meaning that it's going to be a little less competitive for you, which is really great, and you should definitely take advantage of it. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Chloe DeVerrier. I'm a local real estate agent here in Los Angeles. And with that information that I just shared with you, I want to break down two things that are really important for you to know and be well informed of. I don't know why so many agents don't inform their clients on all of these things that I'm about to talk about. So we're going to break down the home buying process from start to finish in terms of the very first few steps to getting your keys in hand. Second, we're going to talk about some of the biggest mistakes you'll want to avoid during your journey as well. So let's talk about the home buying process from start to finish. Number one, once you've decided you want to get into buying a home, you're going to hop on a phone call with a real estate agent, or you can give me a call, and we're going to talk about your wants, your needs, what you're looking for, what's important to you. Is it schools? Is it location? There's so many things to consider here. And once we figure out what you're looking for, I'm going to connect you to a couple lenders so we can get your answers questioned. I clearly can't talk today. We're going to get your questions answered in terms of what are the best loans for you. Do you want to go the FHA route for first-time home buyers where you can put 3.5% down? Do you want to go the conventional loan route? How much are you able to put down and all of that stuff? So we'll be able to hop on a phone call with the lender and talk about your finances and what's the best strategy for you. From there, we're going to get you to apply for a pre-approval letter. Now, the reality is this market is incredibly competitive here in LA. Sometimes you can't even get a private showing booked without proof of a pre-approval letter. And another thing on why this is so incredibly important to do is you need to understand how much you can afford. And once you get pre-approved after submitting income, credit score, assets, employment history, so many other things, we're gonna get a number from the lender essentially. And that number allows us to know A, what you can afford, and B, to know what we're working with in terms of, A, I'm not gonna let you pay the maximum budget. That's just realistically not a smart move for you. Second, because the market is so incredibly competitive, we do need a negotiation buffer. And essentially what that means is, say you were pre-approved for $1.3 million, we would shop around the 1.1 area, so you have a buffer in order to negotiate and win in a competitive multiple offer situation. Once we receive your pre-approval letter, we'll dive headfirst into the home hunt. Realistically, it doesn't make sense for us to do this before we know how much you're working with, because it's a waste of everyone's time, and you could potentially get your feelings hurt if you have higher expectations rather than in comparison to what you can afford. Once we find the home that you want to write an offer on, and keep in mind, this can take 24 hours and it could take a year. I have been in both situations where buyers know what they want, they find it immediately, and we're in escrow. And then we have situations where you're more picky, you can't find what you're looking for, or maybe you're just mentally not in the space to make that commitment just yet. So the time frame in terms of finding that home is up to you and dealing with the amount of inventory that we have on hand here in the market. Once we have a home that you want to write an offer on, we're gonna sit down and talk strategy. How much you wanna write, how much you wanna put down, what we wanna do in terms of our contingency. So we'll talk to your lender and see how many days you need for your loan contingency, how many days do we want to do on the inspection contingency and the appraisal. And this is something that people don't really talk about, but this is a way to get your offer a little more competitive and to stand out if you're showing that you wanna close a little quicker than someone else. Now, once you have an accepted offer, we're immediately going to open escrow, usually the following business day, depending where we land in the week. So if we're landing on a Friday, we'll have to wait until Monday, or if there's a holiday, we'll have to wait till that holiday passes. But typically we open escrow usually fairly quickly. Now, during escrow, I'm just gonna say it's going to be a lot, but it's going to be all worth it in the end. You're gonna be signing a lot of paperwork. You're gonna be signing a lot of contracts. You and I are probably gonna be on the phone almost every day to get things done, but that's how it is in terms of buying a home. Despite the slight chaos, just keep in mind that it's our job to do everything for you, to tell you when to do something, why you're doing it, and to explain it to you. So at the end of the day, it is not as stressful as it seems. It's just gonna be a lot going on. But during escrow, we're gonna have a lot of documents signed. We're gonna do our inspections, our appraisals. We're gonna do a final walkthrough. In the first 3 days, you're going to send in your initial 3% deposit. At the end of escrow, you're going to send in the remaining part of your down payment. You're going to handle title insurance, taxes, lots of things. That being said, after 30 days or so, depending on your escrow period, we will finally close the transaction and the home will be yours. I will be able to hand you your keys as soon as possible, and then we can pop some champagne and celebrate. So now that we have talked about the steps in terms of buying a home from step A to step B, I want to quickly talk about the biggest mistakes you can make as a first-time home buyer. Number one is not working with a real estate agent. I'm not just saying that because I'm an agent myself, but working with an agent to buy a home is completely free. $0, all right, guys? That is because our commission comes from the seller, so the owner of that property. They're paying for our commissions. So our services to you for legal protection, writing offers, getting you into private showings, guiding you, getting you equipped with a lender and a pre-approval letter, all of those things are completely free to you. So take advantage. Take advantage of the free resource of information that we can provide to you. The second biggest mistake you can make is not having closing costs saved. I will emphasize and talk about this in every single video, but it is that crucial. And for some reason, a lot of real estate agents don't educate their clients on it. So keep this in mind. In order to close your transaction, you're going to need approximately 1.25% of the purchase price in order to close escrow. So this is going to cover escrow fees, title insurance, and taxes. So for example, if you're purchasing a $1 million home, you're going to need around $12,500 saved in order to close that deal. The third biggest mistake that you can make is overthinking everything. Now listen, I get it. I'm an overthinker myself, and especially when you're buying a home for the very first time, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to be putting into one thing for the very first time. I get it, but I'm gonna be completely real with you. If you think for too long if you want to write an offer or not, someone is going to outbeat you like that. The market moves fast, especially during this time. The market is extremely competitive, and people are writing offers within minutes of seeing a home, getting it in to be first seen in line. If you wait too long, that seller is going to already have multiple offers and already have one accepted or encounters, and you don't want to miss that opportunity. So typically what we see with a lot of my first-time homebuyer clients is the first few rounds, you're going to realize that you're taking too long to make a decision. After the third time, you're like, I like it, let's write an offer. So it's a process, I get it, we will work at it together, but keep in mind, you can't take too long to make decisions during this time. My final word of advice and a mistake to avoid is to not get caught up in buying your absolute dream home the very first time. Listen, We all have that home in our mind that we know we want when we grow up. We want 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a pool, a large backyard, a view, so many things that we dream of having in our life. It doesn't usually work like that. And for a majority of people that I've ever worked with, you will eventually buy another home a few years down the line once you have a little more money in the bank, maybe your family's gotten a little bit bigger, whatever the reason may be. Everyone usually buys a home a second time. And the fact that you're able to buy a home in the first place is a huge accomplishment, and I want people to recognize that. I want you to recognize that. Buying a home in LA is such an accomplishment because it's so competitive, it's incredibly expensive, and you're buying a home. You're buying a home, which is so amazing. So don't get caught up in the first time that you're buying that home for it to be huge, to be perfect, to be located in the best place in the entire world, because in a few years, you're going to have more money in the bank and your home is going to appreciate, meaning that you're going to have more equity in that property because you spent 3 years holding on to it as an investment. Those combined are going to allow you to upgrade in the future and get that dream home that you've been thinking of. So don't stress out about it. I totally get it, and I see this with all of my clients, but this is not going to be the first rodeo, all right? Be grateful, be proud that you're in the situation, and know that in a few years, you're going to have an even better upgrade. So with all of that said, I can tell the sun is starting to set in the background, so it's time for me to wrap up also. But if you have any questions, please DM me, message me, email me, text me, call me, whatever is easiest. I want to be a resource of information. Please do not feel like contacting me means that you have to work with me. I am not like that. I am a no pressure agent. I simply want to be a resource of information. If you guys have absolutely any questions, just let me know. I'll also link down below my home buyer's guide for you, my first time home buyer's guide, and this will have the entire diagram that I had up earlier in the video, along with a ton of other really useful information. Other than that, cheers to 2021. We made it, and I can't wait to hopefully talk to you in the future, meet you in the future, work with you in the future. I really want to be here to help you guys through this transition in your life. And I really hope that this video was incredibly helpful. If not, let me know. But if you have more questions, you know who to call.